seen it from last time. Oh shit, we on. Okay. Hey, what's good, everybody? I was filming a video. I got my dad and my brother. This is my dad.
How you doing?
It's my brother. So I talk about them all the time in the fishing videos, and I actually got to go home and fish with them and stuff, which was good because last time I came and they got me started, and this is how everything started, right? I come back, my brother puts me in a kayak, and my dad, and we're rolling. Next thing you know, I go home and I get kayaks, right? I come back, I fish. Next thing you know, I'm fishing, and now I get to kind of see it from a different set of eyes. I was watching what they were doing, but now I got to watch what they were doing. Fishing out here is very, very different. It's mainly what, like river systems? And
well, I mean, we have a lot. You got rivers, you got a lot of ponds,
Ponds and lakes.
Lakes. You got a good variety of bodies of water out here that you can fish between, even fresh and salt water, brackish. Pretty much covers all bases around here, really.
Which is crazy because it's like what they said was murky is kind of like normal water for the man-made lakes that I'm used to fishing on, and in California, and the fish definitely act very, very differently. Kind of like, basically, I feel like they're on California speed. Like, you get everywhere fast. You get a bite, you hook them, you get them in the boat fast. Doesn't work here. So get an opportunity to go shore fish. A lot of shallow water, but everything that is here, you got laydowns, you got trees, you got rocks. But just like, a person that fishes a body of water, they're not always there. It looks like they might be. It's a great place to start. But kind of taking their lead and their guide is kind of what got me to actually catch fish. Last time I caught a fish here that kind of ran the cycle, it was a bluegill. I was still happy as hell about that shit. Caught it on a crankbait, and then all of a sudden crankbaits became my thing. But over the last couple of years, the evolution in technology, like what I was getting for rods, reels, equipment, it all kind of evolved because of some of the things that they were doing and that I would see, right? One of the craziest things that kind of led to me actually catching is, one, obviously getting the right spot. They know the spots, right? And I wanted to try some things directly from California to see if they worked. Some did, the Tokyo rig, with the Cinco. But then I also, obviously they told me, hey, try some stuff that you don't never really try out there and run it, which it was kind of good to not be pressured into catching, right? I didn't care whether I caught anything for probably the first time in a long time. And I got to catch my first smallmouth. Thanks, Kenny.
It's a good catch, man. Smallies are the best.
I was dope. I got my first spinnerbait catch. I'm not very good with spinners, but I got it. And I did get to witness how topwater's supposed to be ran. So though we didn't get any topwater catches this time around, I got a different perspective on how to use topwater, where to use it, and why. And a lot of the catches, the decisions I was able to make, I fished behind them, just like I would do in a tournament as a co-angler. I fished behind them, not because I don't think they fished the area correctly. It's because maybe whatever was going on, because they fish and move. I was like, okay, there's a reason why they fished that spot. So I dropped a lot of stuff in there. Got to catch some stuff on the back end. A smallmouth was super, super fun. And the spinnerbait catch was I love spinnerbaits. I love jigs. Don't catch much on them. But now I know. So what were some of the things that you used, that you usually use that, like when you're going out to those places?
I'm not too much of a drop shot user, but every now and then I use it. Just regular Texas with no weight. That's my go-to. My pumpkin seed chartreuse. That's my favorite. That's what I go to when ain't nothing else is happening. I go to that worm.
And then for you, I know you tried a couple of different things, but you have like your main techniques, which I'm biting off right now, the Texas rig and some other things.
Texas rig, the weightless Texas is like my ultimate go-to, just because, just that slow action, get a lot of the action from the drop, will get your reaction bite, and if they're being slow and sluggish, dragging it and bumping it on the bottom, a lot of time you can just pull them out with a reaction bait for that. But it's really been the Senko, and then, the drop shot earlier in the year was really just money. It was just everywhere I went, it was just banging, and it was pretty much either you had the the lift and drag, lift and let it float down technique, or you just drag it on the bottom, and just they couldn't help it, and it was weird because the tempo really stayed the same all year. It was really just letting it sit there like the Texas rig, you'd move it, and then a lot of slow fishing in the beginning of the year, but that was mostly because we had a really mild summer, a lot of rain, so the water temperature stayed really low, and they were eating. There wasn't a lot of competition, and the water table stayed high. There's plenty of area for everyone to go, and the eating doesn't get really pressured, but when that water level goes down, the bigger fish don't really have nowhere to go, so they're just muscling everything out, and then you have the herrings and everything. So this year the Texas wasn't popping as hard as the drop shot, and now with this transition going, it's really just the chatterbait. I'm gonna try and give a run, and I gotta get into crankbaits. You know what I mean?
Right, crankbaits is where it's at. They have perfect environment. It's shallow, it's rock, a lot of things to deflect. A lot of get stuck. I lost 2 crankbaits and shit, just getting it stuck between rocks. But that you can't catch a lot of the good ones if you're not willing to sacrifice some of your stuff.
Right.
So one thing that was also good, kind of like I take everything as training, like it would be martial arts or anything. I didn't have my equipment. I was able to bring some of my terminal tackle and my lures and stuff, but my rods, I brought a couple reels, but I didn't have my rods. And I didn't have as many. I kind of got babied in the fact that, when I'm on the boat or even shore fishing, I have about, 14, 15 rods. If I'm going to switch to something, it's a quick and easy switch. I don't have to calm down, retie, kind of recalibrate. But a couple of things that I caught them on with the suggestion and the movement from what they were doing was something that I never used before, and it was it's a weighted wacky hook. So this one is by actually Berkeley, and this is a 3/16 ounce. And what I did, because I did catch some on the drop shot, but it's a little sticky out here running the drop shot. There's a lot of foliage in the water, rocks. You're gonna lose one, but it is effective. I took the same robo worms I would use, and actually used Salt River Crawl, which is kind of like an actual watermelon and kind of like a red worm. And the reason for that is my dad was using it's a really shallow crankbait, and he was catching in some areas, and the color was like a bright red and a white with a black back.
It's called a Hellboy.
Hellboy, okay. I was like, yeah, because I had never seen it before. And that color combination, I was like, okay, it gave me somewhere to start, and then I threw it out there, and it worked. Because Salt River Crawl is kind of seasonal sometimes. Where we're at, it worked out here just fine. And then, I started moving stuff off of that. So it was the same thing. The first day we went out, I think, what's that place called? Fairview.
First day.
The very first day, like where we got to go under the gate and.
Yes, it's Fairview.
So at Fairview, I didn't pull anything up, and I got my line snapped off a couple times, but I got some really good bites, and it wasn't until I switched to a worm, because my dad was using a salamander that was black with a chartreuse tail. Their water out here is very, very clear. I'm talking like 10, 15 foot visibility. Not used to that out there, unless you go up to the northern lakes in California. And so I had one. It's a June bug, Robo Worms version of June bug. Threw that on, started getting clapped. So it was basically, nothing was really like, okay, this is gonna work, I'm gonna throw it. It was like, okay, what are they doing? I tried to find something like that, and then threw it, and it worked for me. And then I also learned how to be a little bit more patient. I lost a lot of fish because they would bite, and for me, usually a bite, a tug, you got it. Not these guys. The fish out here are snatch and grab masters, which made it a lot of fun because you got to wait. And I even watched my brother. I think I might have it on video. Man, he's got a smallmouth on, and he's just chilling. I'm like, I'm over here panicking for him and shit. Like, oh, yo, you gonna get him? You gonna pull him in? And it was like the most calm thing I've ever seen in my life. So that's something that I'm gonna go ahead and need to, I guess, adopt. But the restriction in gear forced me to kind of retie a couple of things. The quick windows of opportunity for catching a fish made me have to make a decision that was gonna work the first time, or very quickly the second time. And I actually got to see a lot of what they do with a different set of eyes. Because before I could see, you know what I'm saying, but I wasn't really paying attention. I fished for a while. Now I actually got to come back and fish. Still the worst one out of the three. There's a tree out there, I'm going to catch it. If there's something to get snagged on,
yeah, that's true.
I'm going to snag it. So I was like, that shit remains the same. And if there's a bait caster to be bird nested, I'm definitely going to bird nest it. So But it's been an experience. I learned a lot here, and I just wanted to do one with, my brother and my dad, because I always talk about them, but now you guys get to see them. I know it's getting dark.
Yeah, it's getting dark. We had a lot of fun. Our main goal was to get him out here so he can relax and really enjoy fishing, and without, fish finders. Oh, I thought that was a beer. I know, right? No fish finders, no boat. You got to go out and find them on your own, learning the skills and how to look at the water, what's on top and the bottom at the same time.
So it was good. Got a beat, and I definitely got to come back after this military stuff is over. Got to figure out where I'm gonna go, because the fishing out here, they don't get to fish all year round like we do out there, which makes
you
it.
You can.
If you do that,
We just don't ice fish.
Yeah, it all depends on how cold you feel like letting your hands get. You know.
Yeah, I can't even deal with that shit out there in the 40s, so I can imagine doing it here. But yeah, it's just people take it a little bit more serious out here in terms of actually getting out there and getting it in. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go for this, that, whatever. They get it in and they go, and it's 100 until it's time to go home. So fish in and you fish out.
Yep.
And it's kind of nice. A lot of serene, like bushy areas and stuff. But I'm gonna get through this real quick because we get smoked by mosquitoes. Whoever's watching, man, I appreciate y'all. But that's my brother, Ken O'Neill Jr. when you see it. My dad, Ken O'Neill Sr. when you see it. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about my brother and my dad. So all y'all that have been keeping up with me, I appreciate it, man. And if you haven't gotten out there on the water, you need to go on and get out there.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank
All
y'all.
right, y'all.